you meant, baby, when you put your lips on mine. Stirred up all these feelings haven't felt in a long time. Don't know where to go from here. This wouldn't have happened if we weren't drinking beer. Could you kiss me when you're sober? Could I hold you when you ain't high? Would I see the feeling and the stars in your eyes? We could try again tomorrow, see if that passion is there. Just take things slower, baby, yeah. Could you kiss me when you're sober? We dated so long ago. You were my very first love. Started drinking and talking about the way things were. Then your eyes met mine, and something sparked inside. Could you kiss me when you're sober? Could I hold you when you ain't high? Would I see the feeling and the stars in your eyes? We could try again tomorrow, see if that passion is there. Just take things slower, baby, yeah. Could you kiss me when you're sober? Haven't felt like this in forever. Don't know what it is that's drawing us closer. Could you kiss me when you're sober? Could I hold you when you ain't high? Would I see the feeling and the stars in your eyes? We could try again tomorrow, see if that passion is there. Just take things slower, baby, yeah. Could you kiss me when you're sober? Could I kiss you when I'm sober?
All right, what's up, everybody? Alternative Dudes here. Tyler's gonna hit with the intro. Tyler, you there? Everybody is still there. Hold on a sec. I screwed up. Hold up, guys. I don't know what happened. Hold on. All right, talk for me, guys. Now you're good. All right.
All right. Are we good?
Yeah, I had an error. I muted the site because the notifications for Facebook came up, and then I realized that mutes you guys. So welcome to Alternative Dudes Live. Tyler's gonna hit with the intro. There we go.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Alternative Dudes podcast. I am your host, Tyler Green. With me is Jebb, our good buddy Jebb. The song you just heard was Kiss Me When You're Sober by our very special guest today, Josh Christina. Josh, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
What's up, Josh?
We're doing good. We're very happy to have you today. Okay, so I'm just going to start this off, with the usual question I always ask all my guests. So how did you get your start in music?
Well, I was 7 years old, and I heard Elvis Presley the very first time, and it just blew my mind, changed my world, and that got me into old rock and roll. And through Elvis, I found my way to guys like Chuck Berry and Little Richard and B.B. King, and then of course I found Jerry Lee Lewis, and that got me into piano. And that's really where it all started for me. I grew up in a musical family. My mother was a singer, and she sang in local clubs and stuff all around Baltimore. And the East Coast. So I was always around music and musicians. But it really started when I was 7 and I heard Elvis. That just, that did it for me.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah, the king of rock and roll started something, right? I love it.
That's right.
I love it. All right. I got a question for you. To kind of
Sure.
go off what Tyler asked, what was the first song you learned on the keyboard or on guitar or anything? What was the first song you learned with
First
musically?
song I learned on piano was "Whole Lot of Shaking Going On" by
Oh,
Jerry
nice,
Lewis.
nice.
Perfect. Good first
That fits
choice.
perfect. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So out of all this, Elvis was your first, and then you had Jerry Lee Lewis being kind of the first song you
Mhm.
learned. Who was your favorite artist out of all the time that you've kind of like put your inspirations into and kind of kept going because of?
It's probably a tie. I always say there's like my four biggest influences would probably be Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Elton John, and all four of them are probably even in my book because they've all, Elvis really got me into singing, Chuck Berry got me into writing, Jerry Lee Lewis got me into piano, and Elton John kind of encompassed a little bit of all those things. So probably all four of those guys keep me going, and I always try to pull from them if I can.
Yeah, totally. I can totally, since you mentioned those as your inspirations, I can totally sense a lot of that in your music, at least from the song that we just heard. Because from what I've heard of the song, it's very soulful, very genuine, a lot of, and it's very good. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. This is definitely has that. I kind of when I wrote "Kissing When You're Sober," I wrote probably that's probably about 3 4 years ago now. I um I really wanted to get like kind of like a contemporary sounding song, but it had that bluesy piano in it and had kind of that a little bit of that Elvis vibe to it. And at that time when I wrote "Kissing When You're Sober," I hadn't even really gotten into the Elton John stuff yet. This was somewhat prior to that. So, and I've always, thought about, I wonder what would happen if I re-recorded "Kissing When You're Sober" now that I've grown and learned more from, you know, guys like Elton John as a musician, what the song would be like. Um, so yeah, so it definitely has
Yeah,
that
it's kind of
that
like
that.
that's why a lot of artists I think rework their stuff at times because they go, "Wow, I really liked the song when it came out that I made," but then all of a sudden it's like I've learned so much. Yeah, exactly. It'd be so interesting to hear a different, like an alternate
Yeah,
version. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Hey, Tyler, you want to ask another
Totally.
question? Got another one?
Uh,
One of the ones on the list there. You gotta.
yeah. So what was the first song you ever wrote?
First song I ever wrote was this song called "Trucker's Anthem." It was this very, very straightforward 3 chord country song. It was really inspired like by George Jones and Hank Williams, and at that time it was when I got into Jerry Lee, I had kind of gotten into a lot of this old country stuff. And one of my grandfather and I's favorite movies growing up was Smokey and the Bandit. So I wrote a country song kind of, about a truck driver basically. And it was the very first song I ever wrote. Actually, I think you can still find the song on iTunes. But that was the first one for me.
Oh, nice, cool. What's your songwriting process like? So do the songs just come to you, or like do you just sit down at a piano and just go with whatever works for you?
Usually for me, I'm not one of these people where I sit down and write every day or write every week even. Usually I have to see something or hear something that I think, oh, that could be a great hook, or oh, that's something people can relate to. Then usually I come up with like the chorus first, or what the main hook of the song is, and then I'll, kind of build everything around that, build the song around that, the feeling around that. On occasion, I might, get a progression in my head or something that I want to put put lyrics to. For the most part, I usually, like I said, I hear something or I see something that I go, that could make a good song, and then I write a song. I actually rarely ever write about me, or anything that's happened to me. It's usually always about other people's experiences or other people's things or stuff I hear through stories that usually wind up you know, making the song.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
totally.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
nice.
It is awesome. Because it's interesting, because some artists, they get it where they have to write, they write lyrics out all the time, or there's like having the inspirations or something. And it's cool that it's like kind of like telling it through a character, or telling it through not your own, but your emotions are there, and I think that's really
Yeah.
cool, definitely. So yeah,
Yeah, totally.
you have a band that you perform live with, correct? So who are the members, and what was your favorite live show? I'll throw two at you. Yeah, the conversation going.
So my band members have changed throughout the several years I've been playing out. I started playing out my junior year of high school, and that was back in 2012. And the guys that are with me then are not the same guys that are with me now. My band now consists of on guitar I have a guy named Zach Sweeney. Zach's toured all over the world. He played in some rockabilly bands. He worked with a guy named Wayne Hancock for a while. They toured all over the U.S., Europe, Australia. My drummer, Mike Cuffle, he worked with this band called Captain Quint. They were like a trop rock group. They opened for Jimmy Buffett, Casey and the Sunshine Band, played all kinds
Wow.
of tropical,
Oh, that's awesome.
locations all over the country, Florida a lot.
Did you say trop rock?
Trop rock, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. And then my bass player is a guy named Jack Bennett. Jack's played up and down the East Coast, up and down the West Coast. He's played through Mexico. He actually almost got a gig playing bass with Tiny Tim
Holy
back in the day.
shit.
No
Yeah,
way, that's awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
I love Tiny Tim.
So they're the guys
That's
they're the guys I
incredible.
work with now. Yeah.
And what
So
was your
how'd you
favorite?
go?
Oh, sorry, Tyler.
Oh,
Just
how
say
did you go about finding these band members?
Yeah, there we go.
Well, they're all local around the Baltimore area, and it really all started out, when I first started playing out, I used a lot of the same guys that my mother worked with, because like I said, she was a local singer, so I've always been around musicians and always hung out around musicians, and so really, it all started with people she worked with, and then through playing out and doing stuff like that, I made my own connections and met other people, and then that's really where how I've gotten the guys I got now, just by who knows this person, and well, I know this person, and kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. Cool.
Yeah, because you, like I said, like before when we were talking before, it was like the connections and everything. You never know, and it's
No.
like so cool to have these connections that are now benefiting you, but also benefiting them too. They're having a connection with you, and who's an amazing talent and stuff like that. So it kind of goes back and forth, and I love that, and I love that's what I like about music, and I think as well as you as probably as well would say the same with the music being able to, motivate yourself as much as others who listen, So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's
Oh,
really cool.
definitely. So what would be your favorite live performance you've done so far? Because I've seen you've done a ton, but I was like, do you have any one that like one show that you remember the most as being like special or?
It's probably not. It's not a live show. Well, it was live.
Okay.
So a few years ago, I went to Ireland and I performed on Ireland's Late Late Show over there.
Oh wow.
So it's their equivalent to like Jimmy Fallon or Stephen Colbert. And so I did that over there a few years ago. And that was really cool because that was my first time ever really being on TV, and it was live on TV. We performed a song I had out at the time over there called Rockabilly Saturday Night. And it was a really cool experience. And that definitely I hold as one of my all-time favorite live things I've done so far. Just because it was really cool being on live television and being in another country on live television.
It's not just that, it's both. That's awesome. It's like incredible. Artists
yeah.
just dream to travel, and it's like being on live television in another country is insane. That is awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It must have been mind-boggling.
Yeah.
What would you say
that's
your favorite song you ever wrote was? Do you have like a favorite or something you hold dear that's like, I wrote this and this is something that I call my big hit, or something that you feel confident with enough when you wrote?
There's probably my top three favorite songs or anything I wrote would be Kissing When You're Sober, my new single that's out, Let's Get Woke, and then there's a song I wrote a year ago that I recorded in Memphis called Friend Zone, and that's just a rock and piano
Oh
song.
wow, nice.
Let's Get Woke will
Have
be
you,
played in just a little bit, guys.
Are you familiar with Big Star by any chance?
Who?
The band Big Star. They're from Memphis.
The name sounds awfully familiar, but I can't say I've heard any of their material.
Yeah, you probably get a kick out of them. Like they're more power pop, if anything. Like
Alex
in the
Chilton
vein
is
of
the main guy.
Cheap Star, yeah, like Cheap Trick. I don't know why I said Cheap Star.
It's all good, man. And Alex Chilton is the main member from the Box Tops. He kind of formed the band. They consider Big Star to be the best band that never was, is what they consider them.
Yeah.
Because there's so much history behind them, and so much that everybody started becoming fans of them after Alex died. And it was like, oh, geez. And it's like one of those things. So if you ever get a chance, it's just an interesting historical trip back, and you might get some inspirations from it. But yeah, Big Star is awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, in some of the songs that Alex Chilton sings or Chris Bell sings, like the song "Feel," for example, from the first record. I sense a little bit of some rockabilly, type influences in that
definitely.
band, which of course come from the band taking place in Memphis. So yeah, I highly recommend them. Check them out. If you
I
can.
will. Back in January of 2017, I recorded the whole live album at Sam Phillips Recording Studio in Memphis.
Oh wow!
It's the studio Sam Phillips opened up after Sun Records became kind of obsolete.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
So I got to play on the same piano Jerry Lee did and Charlie Rich did.
Holy shit!
That's gotta be a dream come true.
Yeah, my guitar player used an amp he used was an amp that Carl Perkins had used. One of the room mics we used was one of the original room mics from Sun Records. So Elvis had floated through that room mic and Howlin' Wolf.
That's gonna be a trip, a mind trip.
Yeah, it was an awesome album. I produced it with myself, and I co-produced it with me and then a friend of mine, John Carroll. He was with Starling and Vocal Band. He's a 2-time Grammy winner. We produced it together. And we did it all live. There's no overdubs on it except backups. So it's
awesome.
an old school fashion. But that's what Friend Zone's all about. So yeah, Memphis is really cool.
And I know that band too that you mentioned. That band's real good too. I have a couple of their 45s. Yeah, I love. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is absolutely surreal. That has got to be that has to be like the exact moment when you realize, oh yeah, this is why I do what I do. This is coming full circle right here.
Yeah, it definitely was, especially playing the piano, because like a year, maybe a year and a half prior to me recording there, they had released this album called Jerry Lee Lewis, the Knox Phillips Sessions, and it was just unreleased recordings of Jerry Lee at that studio playing that piano. So I had heard that, and then I got to go and play the same piano. So that was pretty cool.
The magic was running through your fingers. It was like this is you embodied Jerry Lee Lewis. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's like going to Abbey Road and playing on like the piano Paul McCartney played on.
Exactly.
Like, I think Lady Madonna or something like that. Yeah, I think it was Lady Madonna.
I mean, just being there is like, hey, just going there, just to be able to be in the place where the Sun Records, the history has happened. Like that's cash too, and all that. And then, but not just be there, but also record is like beyond. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, one of the coolest parts of the studio is because upstairs, so this studio sits like right behind, like on the street behind where Sun Records was. Sam Phillips didn't move very far. Okay. And when he built this one, he made it like a big. It was like he had like a nice big office in it, and accounting and all that stuff. But there's a really historic little bar upstairs, and like Johnny Cash's cigarette burns are on the bar. And like when Elvis was in town, Elvis would come in. Elvis never recorded at this studio, but he would come in and just hang out and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was just cool being there, knowing all these people just walked through the building, and even some recorded there. So. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's great. Jeb, do you want to play the next song that we have?
Yeah, let's get woke
for Josh. All right.
So guys,
this is.
I'm gonna.
You do it.
Yeah, there we go. This is "Let's Get Woke" by Josh Christina, who is our guest right now. I don't know if you've heard him, his voice, but here we go. Let's get woke, guys.
All right.
Heading down to a party on a Friday night. Need a good time, a quick bite of the life. Been a drawn out week since Monday began. Been racking my brain, trying to do the best I can. Just need a drink, something slamming on the GBLs, 'cause tonight is the night. This turtle's coming out of his shell. Turn it up, turn it on. Rocking like we bad to the bone. Get on the floor, running get a walk. Get a walk on the floor. Turn up, scream for more. Get a walk on the floor. Turn up, scream for more. Turn it up, turn it on. Rock it like we bad to the bone. Get on the floor, run it loose. Gotta put these two left feet to use. If you need an education in the party scene, if you think you can dance with me, let's ain't no joke. Turn up, let's get a walk. Oh, let's get a walk.
Woo! That is awesome.
All right, that was
You hear that,
woke
Jerry
by our
Lewis.
guest.
You hear Jerry Lewis in that. Oh my God.
That was great. Are you sure you're not Jerry Lee Lewis incarnate?
Or Elton John. Like, are we both combined here?
Like the new Jerry Lee Lewis? Because you should be.
It should, definitely.
Thank you.
Yo, I got a couple questions about just the music video itself. Where was that recorded?
And that was recorded at a buddy of mine's loft apartment in Nashville. He's actually the guy I use for all my photo shoots. He's a photographer.
Oh, cool. That
and we
worked out
use his
good.
apartment for it.
That's awesome. And were the same band members in the music video? You know, weren't any actors? I'm laughing when I say actors, but are they all the same musicians or?
So the guys in the video are not the guys that regularly play with me.
Oh, okay.
They were all musicians in Nashville that we just hired.
Oh,
for
so
the
like
video.
that's awesome. So like studio musicians, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
Session
they're not
musicians,
actors,
yeah.
guys. We're good. I'm messing.
Yeah, no,
But,
they're
that's
they're
awesome.
actual musicians.
That's awesome. Yeah, they sound great, and I love the jam at the end there with because you're hitting the high notes. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I'm losing my mind. I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah, so that's awesome. And so yeah, and then they had the audience there, was just people that were there, like friends of everybody, or.
Yeah, we just the director of the video, he got just a bunch of his friends to come in as extras, just hang out and clap along to the track while we played
cool.
to it. So
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey Tyler, you got any questions? Keep it going.
Not at the moment. No, I wanna turn it to you
cool.
for now.
All right, awesome.
So, yeah.
So other than the top four of your bands there, right? So is there any other bands that have inspired you throughout the years of seeing and stuff like that as well?
I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, I'm a huge Ray Charles fan. I love Ray. Little Richard, obviously, rock and roll pioneer. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan's style. I really love how in the '80s Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of.
Oh yeah, that's another artist I can hear in that song that you just played, Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's got some very good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Stevie Ray kind of in the '80s it was dominated by everybody considers '80s music. Stevie Ray kind of busted through with blues and rhythm and blues.
Yeah, totally.
And kind of did his own
Pride
thing.
and
So So I've always loved Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I'm a big fan of the Texas Flood album, so yeah, definitely. I totally get it.
Texas Flood, great. Yeah.
Definitely. Stevie Ray is awesome.
So yeah, definitely a lot of older artists. I mean, definitely, any of those blues guys or rock and roll pioneer guys, I usually always love. I love listening to even the really old stuff, like guys like T-Bone Walker or Memphis Slim or any of those guys, Charles Brown. Contemporary music. There's a few. There's like Chris Stapleton. I love his throwback style. But for the most part, I love all the older stuff.
Yeah, the old soul. You're an old soul.
Yeah.
I like it. Because it's the truth, the music nowadays, it's like you find some really awesome stuff, like you, for example, that's not on the radar of everybody, but should be, in my like humble opinion, I should say. But there's a lot of this true rock and roll. It's making its comeback, and the country style, everything where heart is at. It's where it's important, and it's nowadays you get flooded with all the stuff that doesn't seem. Maybe it does have heart, but it just doesn't seem like it does. And then you have music that like brings up like example. Let's get woke, where it's exciting, it's fun, and it's just you can have fun with it. That's what music should be, is fun. So it's interesting. So I definitely
If you're not
having you on
having
is
fun,
awesome.
if you're not having fun with your music, then what's the point?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree 100%.
And it's like it's not all about the money. The money is nice, and then that's another thing to throw out. Like it's if you need it to survive, everyone needs it, and that's under. But when you have music that you could tell, and I could just tell, even if you making money, you could just tell that there isn't. Oh, I'm making this because I could just sell it. It's I'm making this because I want to make people happy, and I could tell that with your music. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I could tell if that's kind of what you're going for, is just to make yourself happy and others too, which again got me smiling ear from ear listening to it. So,
Yeah,
thanks for the
yeah,
experience.
yeah. Definitely. It's about I've always a believer that artists, and I've heard even artists today. I mean, I've heard an interview with probably 10 months ago of Alicia Keys talking about it. But I mean, that if you stick true to who you are and what you want to say as an artist and do as an artist, that always when even if when your big break comes, even if you don't get your big break and you just keep pursuing what you're doing, it always comes off as more authentic, and it always sells better, and people always relate to it more when it's what you're saying, and when it's true to you. And I think you have not all artists, but I think there's a certain number of artists in today's world that I think they kind of just sell out and do what the trends are, what's selling. And I mean, yeah, it sells, and yeah, some of it's good music, but is it 100% what that artist feels and what that artist wants to say? And that's one thing I love. I think you look at guys like Chuck Berry or Elton John, Elvis Presley, and any of those guys, they always really did what they wanted to do and what they wanted to perform and sing and say. And I think you know that's why a lot of your legends even go in the bands like the Eagles or the Rolling Stones. I
Yeah.
mean, they did what they wanted to do,
Yeah,
and
they
they're
told the
they're
record
legends.
companies what to do. The companies didn't tell them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I think they're such legends, and why songs, like Take It to the Limit, or
Yeah.
songs like Tiny Dancer, or
That are
Burning Love, or
incredible. And
right,
it's
any of
like,
those songs are going to be around forever because they just they're classics.
yeah,
Yeah,
They're
they're
it's
timeless. It doesn't
it,
matter. It doesn't
exactly.
matter who you play them for. Like someone's gonna find something in these songs, no matter
Yeah,
how
yeah,
old they are.
it's weird because
yeah.
it's like I go through and like being looking at like being a musician myself, and again the Posies again newer. A lot of people don't know who they are, but I find them being, and probably for Tyler too, but something that I can hold on to and say beside the fact that I kind of know them and everything. And met them and everything. Just having their music, I have found something that not a lot of people are attached to. I could be attached to it as well. But then it goes to like the big stars where like go back to like Led Zeppelin, where they were kind of the ones to say to the record company, "You don't tell us what to do. We're making you money." So it was like
Yeah.
it gave that freedom of expression for artists, but then slowly over time, we need another band to really knock up and do that again. Because it's just they need to shake it, but it's not going to happen. It's just that because rock, it's country's turn now, really. Rock had its turn, and I'm hoping rock will make a comeback as well. But it's country's turn, and that's a beautiful thing because it's giving a chance for a genre that kind of needs that to sing again. Because there's some greats like you know Johnny Cash and stuff like that. I almost was like, who am I talking about? But it makes sense. It's like it's always there's gonna be turning with. There's people like you that are making music that are coming out and saying, "This is me. This is what I do. If you like it, come on." And it's like it's amazing that you have that. Like I would need to work. Like I'm just in awe of the confidence that you have. Like that's another thing too. It's just that
Well,
it's
thank you.
like yeah, no problem. We could
Yeah, I
do
mean, I think
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
I was gonna say I just think that if like along the lines of what you're saying, like for me,
Mm-hmm.
like, and if anybody, when I'm at shows and I'm selling merchandise, or who's ever selling merchandise for me, they'll always ask, because we have people that come up and want to buy a CD or whatever, and they always say, what's your favorite, or what's this, or they always ask kind of
Yeah.
some interesting questions sometimes, but my answer is always, the album that's probably most true to where my roots are would probably be my Instincts record that I cut in Memphis, because it's live. And one thing I love about that album, and I love everything I've done, but one thing about the Memphis album is it's live. So like my vocal, my piano, the guitar, bass, drums, organ, like nothing's fixed, nothing's punched in, nothing's
Oh, that's awesome.
replaced. The whole, we did it, the old-fashioned way. We ran these songs probably, some songs we ran up to 8 times until everybody was good and we liked it. And then, then once we got that done, then obviously we overdub backup vocals. But the heart and soul of the album is live. It's raw. It's there.
That is so
I think
cool.
I think that's cool. And I think there's, when you listen to that album, there's a song on there called Letters that, like it's one of my all-time favorite songs on that CD, because it just comes off as just this raw emotion and feeling to it, and it's really cool. We wound up, we got that take at 12:30 in the morning, and it was dark out, and like those things. I think when you've been working all day and you get it gets dark and it gets late, sometimes things just click, and so I think that's something too that you don't see as much of. You used to see guys, like Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lee hated punch-ins. He hated.
He wanted
fixing
everything
stuff.
natural, yeah.
Right. Yeah, he wanted it raw. And so, when we went to record in Memphis, we figured, well, hey, we might as well do it, the way that Jerry Lee or Elvis would have done it themselves.
And they keep it raw, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, Tyler, you have any final questions? Because what I'll do is I'll play letters for our outro. We'll do letters.
Yeah, totally.
But Tyler, if you have any questions,
before we go,
yeah.
Before we go, yeah, do you have any advice that for musicians out there who just want to make a full-time career doing what they love?
My answer to that is to always, just stick to what you believe you're doing, and who you are. Because I think in the long run, there's a lot of, and I think we've seen this throughout music. There's a lot of awesome people that make killer careers at it, and you hear stories about them as when they get older, about times they sold out or times they did this and they aren't happy with it. But I think when you look at certain artists that stuck to who they are and did what they wanted to do, they're the ones that really made the dent in the career, and made the dent in culture, and stuck around, and are really happy with their careers. And so my thing is always just do you, be true to you, stick to what you want to do, and I think in the long run that always pays off a lot more than having somebody tell you what to do and selling out or whatever. I think that just trust your gut and do what you feel is right, and what you want to say and what you want to play. And I think that that's how you can be happy with your career and be successful.
All right,
I definitely agree.
Said.
Definitely agree. And we're gonna leave those words right there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna play letters.
Before you go, Josh.
But yeah.
Before you go, is there anything else you want to plug?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anybody listening, you can check me out at my website, joshchristinamusic.com. And then all my social media handles for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook are joshchristina57.
Send me all the links. We'll link them in the video. Just send me everything to the Facebook chat we have grouped up, and I will put anything you want right into the description, because we just flood it with all the links. Because cool. This was a great experience, and those words are truly going to reign true to Tyler and I, since we're working on some music together for the first time, and I'm really excited about that.
Finally, yes.
So having that inspiration, thank you. It means a ton, and a lot of artists out there listening in, when they get the chance to, will definitely probably be saying the same, like, thank you, and it means a ton. Thank you. So I'm gonna play letters for everybody. This is Letters by Josh Christina.
All right.
Here we go.
can't put them together. When you're around, doesn't get any better. So much I wanna say. Get off my mind. Get tongue-tied so bad. Merely run out of time. I wanna tell you how beautiful you really are. How much you mean to me, more than anything under the stars. But the words I can't seem to find, they just remain in my mind. So I write letters, keep them in my dresser. Someday hope to get the courage to at least mail them to you, so you can see my love shine through. Hope you feel the same way too. When you read my letters, yeah, my letters, you're always on my mind. In all my dreams, all I think about through the day is just you, it seems. Wanna hold your hand, baby, pull you close. Feel the warmth of your lips, darling, pass through me like a ghost. Every time I get the urge, no, my nerves start to surge. So I write letters, keep them in my dresser. Someday I hope to get the courage to at least mail them to you, so you can see my love shine through. Hope you feel the same way too. When you read my letter, my letters, baby. Send you a letter, send you a letter, send you a letter. The postman won't know what to do when he gets all these letters I have for you. May not get the courage to mail them away, keep them locked up till one day I'll write letters, keep them in my dresser. One day gonna get the courage to at least mail them to you, so you can see my love shine through. Hope you feel the same way too. Baby, you know I do love you. You're gonna find out it's true one day when I mail you know I love you. One day I'll mail them to you. You'll see it's true. When you get my letter.